Hello, everybody. How are you? Give us a couple of seconds while we get situated everywhere else. Uh, Hope you're doing well. Hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving. Did you enjoy your Thanksgiving, babe?
I did.
You did.
Do what I like to do is
Which is
find a corner and go to sleep. How about yourself?
that you did,
Mm-hmm.
and you did well.
Mm-hmm.
I am happy. I don't know why this is always difficult for me, but there we go. There we go. But it is. We're getting it together. I had a great Thanksgiving because it didn't involve me cooking. It just involved me showing up. And I think everybody who is associated or affiliated with me also had a great Thanksgiving because I didn't cook.
Excuse me for my slurping.
I mean, like directly into the
Sorry.
microphone.
Oh, hey, look. I don't think I know how to do be me.
Uh,
So I do apologize.
that is true.
Ah, boy.
That is true.
Whew.
All right. Excuse me, everybody. Give me 1 second. This is not going to be pretty. Oh, can you put that up there instead of me?
Which way you want it? Like this?
It has to be, because otherwise
Okay.
it doesn't.
I can never remember your code, so. Boom, 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 boom. Da-da-da-da-dum,
All right, there we go. Hi, y'all. All right, we're all set. Are you in the?
Okay. I don't think people came to see me, but
It's a different conversation for
I'm
a
here.
different day.
I'm here. All right.
You don't pray?
I already did.
All right. Then that's done. Hi, everybody, as you're coming in. Hey, Tamara. Thanks for hanging out with us. Everybody, as you're coming in, please like, please share, please pass the word on that we're on. Um, and,
Also, thank you for all the feedback we've been
oh, yeah,
receiving from
feedback and
family and friends.
participation.
So
Yeah.
thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yes.
You never
And
know who's watching, who's
that's
paying
very
attention.
true.
So thank you.
And there's a couple of people who came to me at church and was like, hey, we've been watching. We don't say anything, but we're watching. So to you who are out there who don't say anything, but you're watching,
Mm-hmm.
hey, y'all. Thanks again for hanging out with us. Also, thanks for your patience. I think it was what, last week we missed?
Yeah, we did miss last week.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on.
it's a whole lot going on.
So, we had to spend that time in prayer and with family and, put some things on pause. So
Yeah,
it was necessary.
there was a lot going on last week. And our blood pressure skyrocketed.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like trying to still do it. And James was like, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say publicly to you, thank you.
Okay, you don't have to tell it publicly, but it's okay.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
The private thank yous are well enough. It's good enough.
you like the private thank yous.
Mm-hmm. Don't make me spit my cocoa water.
But no, I did want to say thank you for that, right? Because I'll just keep going and not consider um, me and whether or not keep continuing to go is actually a good thing. And so I am quite grateful for you saying, okay, That's enough.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone who looked for us last week and didn't find us, thank you for your patience with regards to that. We also are really, really grateful that our pastor is doing well.
Mm-hmm. Which I knew he would be.
Amen. Amen. So we celebrate him on tonight too.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yeah, we really appreciate him and appreciate the fact that God continues to keep him.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
What's going on with you?
Really much nothing changed just yet. I'm expecting change, but still on the grind and keeping my routine what needs to be until this season is done. So it's slowly but surely coming to a close. I'm getting a little excited about it. So
I don't think anyone who knows me would anticipate what I'm about to say.
Oh boy,
I'm sick of school. Like I want my husband back. He has been in school forever. So like I'm ready for him to go on. Put a pin in this, even though I already know that that's not going to be the end of it. He's going to be done with this and then look for something else because that's just his makeup.
Mm-hmm. But it won't be as
strenuous,
right? I'm really going to minimize, that piece of my life. So, but it's something I enjoy. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy disseminating the information that I gain and also put into work, put into use, not just for myself edification, but for others as well. So, but yeah, I really got to make sure all this time that I've put into myself, I really got to, make room for my family. So, yeah. I can't be selfish but so long.
I'm family. No,
so yeah,
I'm grateful.
It's been a strain.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we talked
about it coming in, so I'm not. Yeah, no, it wasn't a surprise. Yeah. It wasn't something that caught me off guard. Like coming in into our marriage, I already had a master's degree, and you were like, "Yeah, no, I need to not catch up. I need to surpass. I need to be the leader in our home." And so, this is about to be Dr. James Henry Moore III. So I'm very, 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 very proud of you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm very proud of you. So,
what's on the agenda tonight?
You brought up a topic 2 weeks ago.
Oh boy.
Yeah. That has not. Now I forget stuff. Now
I forgot.
We can attribute it to this good old ginkgo biloba I've been taking. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But
speaking of that, I need to take my vitamins tonight.
But I remembered. So that good question. What's in it for me? So you brought.
What's in it for me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness gracious! I don't remember.
You brought up that.
All right, hold up for a second. I'm sorry. Can you kind of
rewind?
Okay, all right.
I got you.
All right.
You brought up that marriage really only been into. Here's the other thing. We said we weren't going to keep talking about relationships, but it was November. It still is, technically still is our anniversary month. And so we said, okay, during November, we would talk about relationships. And so that's what part of the topic was brought up. Well, part of the reason the topic was brought up. Right. You gotta.
I'm sorry. I'll back away.
But you read somewhere.
Oh, okay.
This was not what you said.
Okay.
You did not say this. Okay. This came from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something you read. I think it was a podcast you watched.
Uh-huh.
And they said that marriage only benefits the woman. And so, you remember that?
Yes, I do. But I man, you know how I think my brain just moves on. Right. Okay. All right.
So, yeah.
Well, good thing it wasn't nothing I had said. I don't have to defend it, but it's definitely a conversation piece.
It was definitely a conversation. It's really about the conversation. Tanya said, "Congratulations, James, but you're the head without a degree." But I know what you mean, and let me be crystal clear. You're absolutely right. This man holds it down. At this, I was about to say our address. I caught myself at this address. But I think it was just about a personal goal.
Yeah, it was a personal goal. There was me going back to school was um, part of me um, a little self-seeking. Uh, what's the best way I can describe it? Well, I'll say it like this: at the time that I went back to school, or decided to go back to school, um, I had lost everything. So it was more about really just finding my identity, like finding out who I was at that particular time after losing the things that was around me that at the time I would just say define who I was. Right. So me going back to school was really about just, self improvement, self discovery, not just wasting time in sorrow, not just, living a life of revenge, not um, just standing still.
Mm-hmm.
It was more about what I wanted in life going forward, and how can I prepare myself for the things that I want. And if at the time I did not want to get married, so I knew I didn't want to get married again. I'll say it like that. But it was really just preparing myself for what I wanted next. I wanted a different life. So in order for me to have the life that I wanted, I knew I had to be a different version of who I was, a different person, a different mindset, different behavior. So, you know, um, school was not always something I love, but as I moved in life, I value education um, more and more. And again, I mean, it was really just self improvement and just being a better version of myself. I could have just bought clothes and shop and all that kind of stuff, but I really wanted something to position me to have the things that I want in life, not just gather a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
but be in a position where I qualify for those things. You know what I mean? So yeah, so me going back to school, that's what it was, man. Because when you go through difficult times in life, it really teaches you, or it begs the question of who you are.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And a lot of times when we go through difficult times, we use a lot of different ways to um, vindicate ourselves. You know what I mean? Or soothe the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever you choose to do, that's you. And, I'm not here
Right.
to tell you what you should do and how you should do it, but I lean more into God, and the more I leaned into God, the more I wanted to understand God. The more wanted to understand, realizing that the only way I can really understand God is really having a relationship and through prayer. But I began to ask a lot of questions about the ways of God. So therefore, I was like, well, I mean, I go to school for a lot of different things. I already had um, a associate's degree, quote unquote, associate's degree in theology. So I was like, I was continuing down this avenue. So it's just about the ways of God and just moving forward. So that's enough about me. So yeah, that's
That was a
my whole
hard.
thought going back to school.
That was a hard fight,
What's that?
finding you in the midst of absolute chaos.
What do you mean?
Like I'm vaguely familiar with
Mm-hmm.
your story,
Mm-hmm.
and so like there was a lot. There were a lot of moving pieces
Mm-hmm.
at that point,
Yeah.
and so just coming to this place of settled and able to function,
Mm-hmm.
like that was a big fight for you.
What do you mean settle? Like, what you mean? I missed something.
Coming to a place of settled, even though everything around you
Mm-hmm.
sort of.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, see, I thrive in chaos. Right? I thrive in chaos. I
I
thrive
hate when
when
people say that. Like it really bothers me.
I
But
know,
go ahead.
but I do. It pulls the best out of me because it's not a place that I want to be. It's a place where through my gifts and talents and skills, I can bring calmness, right? But it's different when it's you.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy when it's someone else because you can say this, that, and the other. But when it's you
Perspective.
wrestling with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
your self-identity, it takes on a different tone. It takes on a different behavior. It requires you to challenge the very thought of who you say you are. So
Yeah.
the things that I thought of myself, I really wasn't. And I had to come to grips with that and face that and ask myself, okay, this is who you think you are, but the reality is that you're not. Now, what are you going to do?
So what's the biggest thing you came to grips with that you thought you were, you realized you were not?
I think it's a lot of things really. It's not like, oh well, never mind. I'm sorry. Forgive me. The question was, what was the biggest thing? I think the biggest thing was
Is that a hard question?
yeah, it's challenging because um it's perspective,
Right.
right? I'll say this. I'll say the biggest commitment that I made, and it just has to be true. It's just being honest. Like that was the largest commitment. I'm not saying that I was well. I mean, I'm not gonna say I was a person that practiced dishonesty, but there was things that I was unwilling to face with me. I was unwilling to face with dealing with other people. Um, you know, sometimes we magnify situations that really don't need to be magnified.
I
Right.
get you.
So there was a lot of untruths in my behavior and how I view myself and how I conduct myself. So I had to deal with those things. You know what I'm saying? So I had to, say I'm just going to be honest and go through the the process of what that looks like and how that sounds and how you display that being engaging with yourself as well as others. So yeah, I'll just say that. I'll say that.
I think that
There was a lot of transformations that happened in my life. So I'll say that. I'll say that probably that's the biggest one. Yeah, for me.
I think if more people were honest, they would have to admit that they're not as honest about their reality
Yeah.
As they would purport that they are. Yeah.
Because the idea that we have about ourselves is all of us are good. We all good in our own right, and we are honest in our own right. But if you really sit down and have a very hard conversation with yourself, and I think this is important to surround yourself with people that's going to be honest with you as well. It will allow you to be the best version of yourself. And a lot of times, what we try to do is be the best version of ourselves by ourselves. And it's very challenging to correct something that you can say that is right.
Yeah.
So I purposely chose different men from different backgrounds, different education levels, different professions to have the responsibility and the accountability when it comes to my life, when it comes to my behavior. So and that's just my journey, and it continues to go forward. Yeah, I think I just believe that if you want to be the best version of yourself, you have to figure out what that process look like, and it can't be just you. It just can't be just you.
You got to find some people to help you along that journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And find the right people.
The right people.
Because
I mean, yeah,
the wrong people can do more damage.
Could
definitely do more damage.
Yeah.
In that process, you got married. Tanya said that's right. I agree.
I did.
You did.
Yes.
Why? Because according to that podcast, there is nothing in it for a man. So, like names, like what they said, you have to hear this. This group of men having this conversation. It was like there's absolutely nothing in it for a man to get out of marriage, and then they like named all of these like this is all of the benefits for women.
Right.
Which go ahead, you do.
But
because you watched it, I'm getting
well,
second
for the
hand.
record, I just don't listen. I listen to other podcasts besides Christian podcasts, and the reason being, not that I have to, but I want to put things in perspective, is that one of my passions is apologetics, and I'm always looking for or keeping my ear out for things that will be spoken, the untruths about God and what He requires His believers to how to live and behave in those things. So, when I listen to podcasters that's out of the realm of Christianity, this is my purpose. I want to hear what the people are saying, not just the people of God, but the people are saying. So it's just one of these podcasts. I don't know if they was Christians or not. I mean, based upon the language and their perspectives, obviously they wasn't Christian. So anyway, yeah, that conversation is about marriage and how marriage does not benefit the man. And they had a list of reasons why they believe
it only benefits women.
It only benefits the woman.
And what were some
and one of them was that if the marriage fails, the wife get half, the wife get the kids, the wife get child support.
The wife gets spousal support.
Spousal report. Like, all of these different things that the man loses if it happens in divorce. And if they are married, it kind of goes the same way. He gains really nothing because her money is her money. It's not their money. Only his money is our money. What else say? I mean, all of the hard labor falls on him, and he has to be responsible for all this and that. He has to be the protector, the provider, but he has no say so about what his wife wears and where she goes and all these other things. So, I mean, unfortunately, some of those things, in my perspective, are true, but not all. So I'm just saying. So, I mean, again, for me, I'm just listening to hear what the people are saying.
That's why the old song says it's cheaper to keep it. So the question then becomes, as a Christian man, do you agree with that? Do you think that marriage mostly benefits the woman?
It depends on how you view it. Let me say it like this.
Chime in. What do you all think? I'm putting my husband on a hot spot. What do you all think? Do you all think that marriage mostly benefits the woman and that there's no real benefit to marriage for men? So what are you all thinking? Chime in. Let us know what you think. Go ahead, Ben.
I'm sorry for cutting you off earlier. I would say it all depends on the marriage. Like I will speak on our marriage. Like our marriage was, our union was for purpose. So I'm definitely going to benefit from it. And the reason why I benefit for our marriage, because it was about ministry, it's about purpose, it's about pleasing God. And who you are, what your gifts are, what your skills are, and what your talents are, is only going to benefit what God called me to do. And vice versa. Well, my gift, my talents, my calling is only going to benefit what God calls for you. So with that notion, we both benefit as long as we continue to, do the work of God. As long as we do that, if we stop doing ministry in some capacity or stop, period, then we have to revisit that conversation.
So, okay.
I mean, I'm just telling you the truth.
So, okay. Then
just from a believer standpoint.
So outside of ministry, what's the benefit to being married?
Outside of being a Christian?
outside of ministry? What's
Outside of being a Christian?
I can't with you.
But see,
outside
okay.
of ministry, I'm asking you specifically outside of ministry.
I can't answer that question because as a Christian, marriage is a ministry. And as a Christian husband, there ought to be a purpose in their union. Now, what that purpose look like, that's up to whatever God has called those individuals to do in ministry. Because ministry is just not in the pulpit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ministry is care and concern and hospitality and ushering and being a deacon, deaconess. I mean, ministry, you know, it is so many versions of what ministry looks like when it comes to the body. So for me, that's why I kept saying, that's why I said, as a Christian, because if as a Christian, my answer is going to stay the same. Like as a couple, as a marriage couple in Christ, you guys ought to be talking about what it is that God wants to do through us. That's just the bottom line. If that's not happening, then you're going to have more struggles than you ought to as a Christian married couple.
Say that again. As a married couple,
you should be talking about what God wants to do through us. If you don't, you're going to have more problems than you need to have, or you should have as a Christian couple.
Why do you say that?
Because what do you focus on? Each other? What do you focus on? Finances? You focus on family?
It sounds like those gentlemen were focusing on finances.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. As a Christian, are you talking about as a Christian couple, married couple, or non-Christians? Because those are two different lifestyles.
So I was reading after you. Well, it was funny that you brought that up, and then right after someone, who was out? I don't know if I was reading or watching something that said that one of the problems that men face. Oh, Trevor Noah. I was watching the Daily Show. One of the problems that men face is an issue of intimacy, and he brought up how so many, even like sex workers, prostitutes, will say that they have been paid just to talk to men. Mm-hmm. And so is that not a benefit of marriage in either realm?
Well, I mean, we're in a different age when it comes to marriage now, because now there's a demand on men to be vulnerable. And I mean, this is, again, just my opinion. Men need to learn how to be vulnerable without looking weak. And that's the struggle. Because no man wants his wife to look at him as being weak.
So do you think by saying...
And don't no woman want no weak man.
Okay, fine. But if you say, you know, I just need to be held, you think that comes across as weak? Looking weak?
I'm probably not the one to be asking this question. Because I'm going to just be 100 with you.
Are you serious?
Absolutely, yes. I'm sorry. Absolutely, yes. Oh, baby, just hold me. No. Like, oh, baby, just hold me. I'm having a bad day. Nah, bro.
What's wrong with saying I'm having a bad day? I just need a hug.
I'm not that far. I'm not that far in this modern generation that I move. I don't move like that. I don't move like I have learned how to be vulnerable without feeling like I'm demasculating myself. Like I will sit there and emasculate myself. I can sit down and say, you know, today this is how I'm feeling. You know, help me work through this. Let's talk through this X, Y, and Z. But nah.
But are you then missing out on, like? So he went as far as to say that because men won't say, you know what, I'm just having a hard day, even to
they will. I'm
even to each other. even to each other, right? That they won't even like hug each other up. Men, and so they miss out on.
No, that's not true.
You don't think that's true?
I know it's not true.
Why?
Because I'm surrounded by. Because I surround myself.
Sister Shirley, what you mean? No, not from Gary Washington. What not from Gary?
I'm surrounded by strong men that I have personally reached out, and vice versa. That I've been in their presence. They've been during a difficult time, and I've shown them love. Mm-hmm. It may not be to the degree that women do it, but like we dap each other up, we hug each other. We, you know what I mean? Men have to. Men only understand men, mm-hmm. and I think one of the issues is women's requiring men to be more like have this feminine behavior that they're requesting from men. That's just they unwilling to how can I say this? They're unwilling to allow themselves to be seen that way. It's just again, it goes back to being seen weak.
So right? What are you saying, Sister Shirley? You're saying that Gary doesn't have a problem asking you to give him a hug. Is that what you're saying? And I'm not saying that you have a problem asking me to give you a hug, mm-hmm. but like just to be like, yo, I just need.
Nah, bro.
No, he wouldn't come in and be like, yo, I just need to be held.
Nah, bro. Nah.
He wouldn't do that.
Nah, it would be under circumstance like, babe, I just need a hug today. Something like that. But nah, that ain't like normal request, normal behavior. Nah. Mm-mm. No, I mean, so I'm not just talking about me. I'm not saying for everyone. So just talk about me.
I know. Oh, you said he won't ask.
Right. See?
Why? Why won't y'all just say, hey, I'm having is that why you aren't benefiting?
No.
From marriage? Because
men does not. This is the thing. And I'm not talking about boys. I'm talking about a man. Okay. A man, once he comes to the understanding of who he is and what he's working to become, he doesn't need no mama. He doesn't need no one to pat him up when he's having a bad day. He may need you just to leave him alone, let him figure this out, and then maybe have a conversation. Like some men don't need hugs. I'm saying some men we don't need that. Like, we may need a pep talk, or, I just need to know you're going to be with me because I'm great. Go through this thing. I'm great. Da-da-da-da-da. But nah. I mean, see, this is what I'm saying. This is the thing. Like, this is what you guys want from men. But then, and again, just my opinion, if a man continue to behave like that, I just don't think a woman will see him in this prominent role, this masculine role. If every time you turn around, oh babe, I'm having a bad day. Pull up. The day was so hard. Like, if I'm doing that 2 days out of the week, 3 days out of the week, you can be like, bro, get yourself together, pull it together, man up, let's go. Nah, you don't want that. You don't want that. Sometimes what we think we want is not what we actually need.
Oh no, I know I don't want that.
Okay, I'm just saying.
And I'm trying to think of a way of saying why without being.
I'm not built like that.
No, I know. Like, I don't want that.
Nah, I ain't built like I ain't coming in. Just hold me. Nah, bro. Like,
after a while,
nights in the bed, I'm like, bro, if you don't get up on me, I'm just saying. Look, I'm just saying. Relax, take it easy.
Anyway, Gary said. Sister Shirley said Gary is a New York gangster.
That's
right.
Real hardcore. That's right.
And
that's one of my brothers.
I get it, and I appreciate it. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, after a while, that is sort of like the attitude you get when a man is consistently like, they did this to me, they did this to me, they did this to me. It's like, well,
wait, no woman wants to hear that.
What are you going to do different?
Exactly.
At what point are you going to check your behavior and say?
But I think that's the nurturing part of women that want a man to be vulnerable enough so they can kind of take care of them,
Mm.
to nurture them, and all. Like most men don't want to be nurtured, and I'm talking about men. I ain't talking about boys.
Okay.
I ain't talking about, you know, men. I mean, boys for facade like they're men. Like nah. Like most men don't want to be nurtured. They want to be supported. That's what they want. Like for them, for men being supported, man, that I'm good.
So what's the difference between being nurtured and being supported? What does it?
It's one of those things like prime example. If I can't use that example, I'm gonna say it like this. If something happened, right? If you see something, based upon what you see, you come to me and say, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine." But then you be like, "You sure you good? You okay?" "Yeah, I'm good. I seen da 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 da, but are you okay?" "Bruh, I done told you 3 times I'm good." That's that kind of nurturing. Like it's a good thing, but it's almost offensive to a man when he already told you I'm good. I understand what you may have saw, but it ain't moved me the way it may have moved you or the way you think it have moved me. Nah, I'm good. So that's what I mean by nurturing. Exactly. Being a mother. And that's what a mother does. "You okay? You good, sweetie?" I just want to make sure you okay. Bro, I'm good. I'm all right. I'm okay. Trust me, I'm good. That's what I mean.
But is that always the truth?
Yes.
Like, because sometimes I think, don't do that. But sometimes I think,
see, you're proving my point. And you're proving my point. I'm just saying.
I'm not proving
you are. Point. You proving my point.
I'm not proving your point.
When we say we good,
you didn't let me finish my statement.
I don't have to let you say. When we say we good, that means we good. But you just said, but I don't think that's true. When you tell me, like, come.
I'm not talking about you per se. I'm saying sometimes men in general say they're good, but they aren't processing whatever's
happening. How you know that? If I say I'm good, I'm not
talking about you.
If men say we're, I'm gonna speak for all men. I'm going to stand on this hill with this pole, with this flag. Excuse me. It says men. I'm going to stand on this hill with this men. If we say we good, that good means a lot of things.
Okay.
That okay means a lot of things. That okay means it could means I'm not bothered. I ain't thinking about it. Happened. Whatever. I'm moving on. I already been moved on. It could also mean I am processing. So when I come to you and have this conversation with you, not only have I dealt with it emotionally, but I also dealt with it psychologically. And I'm going to let you know what I'm going to do or where I'm at with it. And it also could mean like, all right, I try to figure this out. I'm not really sure. Give me your perspective. In all of that, this is going to sound crazy, but in all of that, we still good.
It sounds crazy.
I'm just saying. Right. It's going to sound crazy, but in all of that, we still good.
Because from my perspective, mm-hmm. if it can mean all three of those things, mm-hmm. then how do you know which of the three it means? So what you're saying is...
Because it's a process.
What you're saying is don't come in unless you're invited.
No, what I'm saying is you're going to invite yourself, but if I don't open up the door, that means you can't come in. And if I do open up the door and be like, no, thank you, let that be okay. Don't come back and keep knocking at my door. I'm just saying,
but like, how come that's not showing concern?
It is showing concern, but it becomes
nurturing.
Yes. Are you okay? You good? I know it bought like, bro, please stop.
See, like she just said, like Sister Shirley just said, she said Gary will hold back something in order to keep me from worrying.
That too. I just said that.
But why is I already know what you're gonna say to this.
But go ahead. What I'm going. What's the question and what I'm going to say?
No, I'm not giving you that.
Okay.
But you're not keeping me from worrying. Because I'm responding to your answer, mm-hmm. to what I know your answer.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because the question is, why are you trying to keep me from worrying? Your answer is, that's my job. I'm the man. I'm supposed to protect you from worrying. And my thing is, but it's still not.
But that's part of it. And don't confuse being nosy and worrying.
Ooh,
I'm just saying.
did he just call me
No,
nosy
I ain't.
in
Look,
public? Yes, he did.
look.
Because I know, see, here's the thing. What you don't know, or maybe you figured out at this point, we're having a very real conversation right now about something that actually happened this weekend. So we're talking through it right now in front of you.
There's a difference between worrying and being nosy. And second of all, part of
I
it
wasn't.
is protecting you from worrying. But also, if I'm not worried, why would I want you to be worried? And if I'm not worried and I tell you and you start worrying about it, it's going to get on our nerves because you want to talk about it. I'm like, bro, like, I'm over it. Like, no, I don't want to talk about it because I'm done with it. I already process through it. I already know what I'm going to do about it. I may have already done about it. I didn't already moved on. Like, men are really good at saying, "All right, it's dealt with. I'm moving on." I've never been a woman. I don't know how a woman thinks. I only know how a woman responds. And some women wants to hold on stuff and come to a conclusion and like, okay, how you feel? What we gonna do? And da 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 da. Like, this don't have nothing to do with you. Like, yeah, you're a part of my life, but this don't have nothing to do. Let's just move on. Like, it's done. Let's go. But no, but you wanna.
Sister Shirley said it's not nosy, it's being concerned.
See, but that's another woman saying that. So obviously that's that's your perspective. So again, Sister Shirley is proving my point. You're proving my point. She's
proving your point.
You're proving my point.
If there is, okay, so here's the thing though, right? If there is legitimate reason to be concerned,
okay,
and then I don't respond with concern, then it's like, so what, you don't care?
That's not true.
No, I'm not talking about you. Again, like, sincerely, like, that's not how you would respond at all. You would be in a very happy place.
I don't think most men, I don't believe most men will respond like that. I just don't believe that. Because if we share it, then yes, we want you to be concerned. We want you to play a part in the process.
But here's something you said,
and it may be limited as well.
You said it doesn't have anything to do with you, but that's not true. Because if it shapes or influences your demeanor,
why y'all want to be included in everything?
Did you hear what I just said?
Can you answer that?
Did you hear the words?
Could you answer that question? Why do you believe that you have to be included in everything? I'm just asking the question.
Because if it shapes or influences your demeanor, then it directly affects me. Okay. Sister Shirley, do you want a wife with no empathy? Is that what you want?
This don't have nothing to do with empathy. This talking about being nosy. The word you're nosy.
We're not nosy.
Y'all,
Tanya said, but when we see something's wrong and you're not speaking on it, that worries us.
Well, sometimes you gotta unsee what you see.
Don't
unsee what you unsaw. Unsee what you saw. Excuse me.
Don't see that your husband is bothered. His demeanor has changed. Don't see it.
Or he already almost burned his hand on the grill. It just popped in my brain.
My man came in the house with his hair wrapped up. I said, "What's wrong?" Nothing. I said, "James, are you okay?" "I'm good." Okay. Then he came back in the room. He said, "We got some Neosporin." I said, "Yeah, I think we do. It's in the other thing." This man had lit his hand on fire. By mistake. But had lit his hand on fire talking about, do we have some Neosporin? What? And did not tell me. I think it was like the next day. Mm-hmm. He hid it from me till the next day, wrapped it up, put it in a glove. And lit his hand on fire. Both Tanya and Sister Shirley, both of them said, wow. Wow. Listen, lit his hand on fire. But said, what you say?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
I'm good. I was good.
How?
I was good. She
How?
was being nosy.
I wasn't-
It's like I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I was just joking. I was just joking. I was just joking.
But he meant it. He joking, but he meant it.
I'm joking.
Mhm. Exactly. And you brought that topic up. Like I wasn't even thinking about that.
I know it. That's the thing. That's the first thing that popped in my mind when she was talking about empathy.
You're right.
That whole situation. But yeah. It's all good. So.
Retrospectively, it's hilarious. But at that moment, your girl was like, "What?" Because I don't think we had been married like a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
I was like, "What is this? What?"
No, we were married longer than that.
No. So
we was living here.
We had just moved in here.
We was married 2 years before we moved in here. 3 years.
It wasn't 3 years.
It wasn't 3 years. Oh, okay, it was 2 years.
Because that little apartment wouldn't hold us.
Yeah.
We were busting at the seams at the little apartment. Yeah. No, we were here.
Yeah. Less than a year. Yeah. Less than a year. Anyway.
So yeah, your girl was like, "What is this? what kind of man is this? What how does this work? I don't know. What do you do with this?" I think, I mean, I know without question, you're a whole lot better than that. You wouldn't hold something like that for me at this point. But then
I think that whether women agree or disagree, you have to allow a man to be a man, and that comes in different shapes and forms and different attitudes, and allow us to evolve. You know, you have to remember, like on that episode, we talked about the male female brain force maturity is like 25. A man's like at his peak 43.
Right.
So we got a lot of growing up to do. So we just need a little bit of space,
a little bit of grace.
That empathy part.
Now you want the empathy. You see how they do? You see how they do? They want the empathy, but they want it on their terms. That's funny. That's funny.
I love you guys.
So overall though, what's in it for a man? What's in marriage for a man?
As far as what? Being a Christian or a non-Christian, believer or non-believer?
Holistically.
I think it's two different lives.
Two different lives.
It's two different lives. It's two different lives. It's two different lives, because I will hope a Christian man, when he goes out to find a wife or seeking a wife, that part of, or a large part of him finding that right mate is for purpose. Is to do the will of God. Is to do, what God has purpose in his life and what's purpose in her life, and how they can support each other and whatever that may be. Outside the church, man, it could be a whole lot of things. It could be a whole lot of things. So it could be a whole lot of things.
It could be a whole lot of things.
It could be a whole lot of things. Why why you choose the spouse that you choose.
So, from your perspective, you're saying intimacy is not a benefit.
Of course it is. I'm not saying that it's not. It's just different for men than women, and that's where the work has to be done, and patience has to be there, and allowing space for each other, and having the heart and the willingness and the thought of mind to serve each other will play a role in that intimacy. Because even though I'm a man, I can't speak for every man on the earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it looks different for everyone.
But I think that word is key, though. Mm-hmm. Serve, because service looks different as per each individual need.
Right.
So serving me is not going to look the same way that it would serving, someone else.
Right.
Because my need is different, and what I in order to meet my need, that's going to come across two different ways.
And it changes too. And I think when you are married, I would always, I would like to suggest that you don't lock your partner into who they are presently, and allow them to grow and become the best version of themselves. You know what I
So
mean?
that brings up a point though.
Uh-huh.
If you're marrying for
Mhm.
purpose and you're saying, don't lock a person in,
Mm-hmm.
then if the purpose morphs or
Mm-hmm.
changes
Mm-hmm.
somehow, are you now quote unquote married to the wrong person?
No, no, because they would. I don't. I'm probably not that person to ask this question, but
But
since you did ask, I guess I'm not that. Do me a favor.
what?
Ask that question again.
Oh gosh, I know what you're getting ready to say.
No, you don't know. I need to let this sizzle in my spirit real quick.
Okay, so if you're marrying for purpose,
Uh-huh.
and that purpose somehow changes or
Uh-huh.
morphs, are you then saying that you married the wrong person because the purpose is no longer the same?
No, and here's why. Your calling will always stay the same, but your purpose can change.
Okay,
That's why.
all right. I'm gonna leave that there because I thought you were
That's
going.
why.
I thought you were definitely going to say something
What?
else.
Like what?
I don't believe that there's a one person because you said that before.
I don't. No, I don't. For a man, I don't think so.
But I don't want to have that conversation tonight.
I don't. Look, let me say it like this. Relationships, I believe most people can say, is what you make of it, right? What you're willing to put into it
Right.
to position a relationship for an expected result. So I'm not saying every relationship is going to last a lifetime. Um, but I will say a relationship can last as long as you're willing to put the work in for it to continue to manifest, for it to continue to grow, for it to continue to have some staying power. Now, what that closeness look like as the relationship and situations evolve would be determined by those two individuals, where their heart and where their mind is at. So, how about that?
I have a follow up question, but I'm not going to set myself
Go
up
ahead.
like that.
No, please. We have time.
I'm not setting myself
Please,
up
please. Ask. You better talk to me because I'm very talkative tonight. So you better
I see.
catch me while I'm going because you know I can sit over here like a monk real easy.
Listen, Shirley said Gary and I had a conversation today about when Christians marry the unsaved.
Oof.
They can't go home and discuss the word of God. Can you speak on that? Tanya said, ask the question.
Well, we know what the Bible says about being unequally yoked.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll say it like this: when me and Latanya, and I'm pretty sure we told this story before, but before we got married, before we was dating, any of that stuff, we was doing ministry together. So we was taking every opportunity to position ourselves to be able to minister in so many different levels, in so many different spaces. So we actually took a premarital class. We was not dating, we was not engaged, we wasn't nothing. We strictly took this class to be able to help couples before they got married, those who was looking for a spouse and those who was married. So we took this class. And I'll bring that up because I thought it was just pretty funny, but it goes to your question. So when we decided to get married, we had this conversation. I don't know if you remember this conversation, but we both agreed, like, actually, no, this came up when we was doing marriage counseling for someone. Now I remember. When two people are married and they both see the situation from different perspectives, what's going to be or who's going to have the final say? Who's going to say, we're going to go this way, we're going to go that way, this right or wrong? When unbeliever is married to a believer, you don't have, there's no foundation.
Right.
There is no,
There's no
where do we
tiebreaker.
go? Where do we go to say what's the best
Yeah.
direction for our relationship or this problem? So when you have two saved people, our deal breaker, or when we can't come to agreement, we go to the word of God.
Right.
Period. So when you have two individuals that see the world and see life differently, you're going to constantly have that problem. You're going to constantly have these issues because one do it the way the world does it, and the other wants to do it the way God want us to do it. So you're constantly going to have this battle. You're constantly going to have friction. You're constantly going to have, struggle.
And there's no
You know?
common like point that you
Right.
can refer to that says you're not right, I'm not right. This is
That's
what
right.
this is
Foundation.
right.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so you rob yourself of
Right.
that. So your argument is always about, well, from my perspective,
Right. Yeah.
who cares at that point, especially if there's an argument or if there's a disagreement, your perspective is the one that's being battled by by your spouse. So yeah, I get your perspective, but it has no relevance here because my perspective is the one I
Right.
am
Right.
championing for.
Right.
And so you have that scripture to be able to go back to and say,
This is
well,
the deal breaker.
this
This
is the
is
deal-
where we go.
not
This
the
is
deal breaker,
this is
but
what
the
this is what
tiebreaker.
this is how we roll. And and this is why I always talk about when it comes to believers, what has God called you to do?
Yeah.
From the male and female, like what God called you to do, and begin to build your relationship from that point on.
Yeah.
Not just because you look pretty and I like the way you smile, and I like the way you dress, I like the way you walk, all that kind of stuff. Like, that's all good. But what's going to keep you guys together? What's going to help you refocus when things go awry? Because we already know, I mean, when you get married, you want the things that marriage is supposed to bring. It's supposed to bring, you know, uh, safety, comfort. You desire to have a family, you desire to have a house, you have a desire to have a car and career. So that, I mean, those things goes without even having to speak about. It's the things that, it's the behavior, it's the attitude, is the foundation, the practices that you really want to focus on, you really want to talk about. And when it comes to being married, so when it comes to believers, don't marry someone that's not a believer.
Yeah.
And they should be, let me say it like this, they should be a practicing Christian. You know what I mean? They should, their behavior should be, I'm going to church, I'm tithing, I honor my mother and father, I honor my kids, I honor my co-workers, I honor my pastor, I honor you, I honor, it should be, if you're a man of God, you need to read the Bible so you know what type of woman you want. And if you say you want a woman of God and you don't read the Bible and all you see is her go to church, you don't know she's a woman of God. You don't know that because you go to church. Same thing for my sisters. You say you want a man of God, you pick up the Bible. That's the standard. That's how you say, okay, cool. Does he pray? Does he cover? Is he demonstrating some level of compassion to society? And I'm not saying he has to be a preacher, but he should be doing something in the community. He should be doing something in the church. He should be doing something that demonstrates that there's a ministry inside of him. There's a ministry that's birthing in him. It could be anything.
Does he
usher anything?
Does he display good stewardship?
Yes, stewardship.
Because if he's the head of your house and gets the final say, you don't want that final say to be foolish.
Right.
So, has he already displayed good stewardship in his own life, in his personal life, things like that? And so those items become vitally important, especially after the fact.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And I'm only going back to a podcast I was listening to, and they asked the women, I'm gonna ask you, do you marry a guy based upon their potential?
Okay.
Okay, let me ask you that. Let me ask it different.
You
Let me
should.
ask it. Let me ask it different in a different way. Do you think it's a good idea to marry a guy based upon his potential? Do you think it's a good idea?
It depends. I think it depends on your age.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And let me let me put
So
let
what?
me answer. Let me answer
Okay.
the
Okay.
question.
Because I was gonna ask another question when you talk about the age. I was gonna talk about the age range when it comes to potential and what do that looks like in those age ranges.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? I don't know if I can go that deep. I'll see what happens,
Okay.
what comes out of my mouth. But I will say right now, at my age, at my current age, absolutely not. No. There needs to be some sign, some evidence that you
There needs to be some fruit.
Listen, absolutely.
You've been in that vineyard, tilling, working.
Listen, but up until around 25, I think.
What do you mean from 25 to what?
Up until 25. Because see, typically, you graduate around 22.
Okay. From 22 to 25?
From 22 to 25, there's some grace there. Okay. By 25, on average, not everybody, life happens, right? But by 25...
Let's say 27.
Okay.
We're in a more modern age, so I mean...
Okay, so let's say 27. I'll say by 27. Okay. Fine. By 27, it's not about marrying for potential, but it's have you, at the bare Etch-a-Sketch minimum, gotten into a career path?
Okay. Right.
Have you established a bank account?
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
And are you... If you're not already out, because if as a single man and your parents are like, yo, it's no big deal, you know, we don't want you gone, you might take advantage of that.
Right.
But if you are at home, have you been anywhere? Like, I mean, you're in your career path, you have a bank account, and you haven't traveled anywhere? Nowhere? You've been nowhere?
What do you mean travel?
Gone somewhere.
What do you mean by that? Because not everyone, not...
If you're living at home, that's what I said.
I know, but not...
Let me finish.
Right. Let me finish. I'm just saying, like, y'all...
If you're living at home, and you have some semblance of a career path, and you have a bank account,
I heard that,
and you're still living at home because, you made the decision, I'm going to live at home.
Right.
You should have had some experiences that take you outside of your norm.
What do you mean by that? Like to a different city, to a different country?
Something based upon what your career can afford you. You've had some type of experience outside of your everyday.
All right, so let me ask you this question.
Let me finish.
Okay, all right, because I'm getting to the nitty gritty.
If you have moved out, then you have moved out.
Right.
Like you have an apartment,
right?
You got some piece of a car,
right?
You're doing your thing,
right?
Right. So by 27, one of those things should be true.
One of those things should be true.
Either you are at home and you've done a piece of traveling, or you're on your own and you're doing the living on your own thing.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, by 30.
Right.
Okay. All right. So here's the thing, right? You were saying by 27, you are still marrying potential because you don't know where that career path might take them.
Right.
But if they're grinding and they're doing some things to ensure their longevity, then it's not just potential, it's potential with some
evidence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But if there's no, yes, I'm in my career path, and I'm at home and I'm not doing nothing with my money, but I don't have no money.
But what if their career path from a financial standpoint, may take them a little bit longer
Doesn't
to
matter.
get to that, what you may deem is a lucrative
No. It's
job.
not. That's what I said. It's
It
you
doesn't
are.
matter.
Yeah, at 27, by 27 you especially if you have to invest in a career.
Mm-hmm.
It,
That's why I'm asking.
then
That's
it's
what I'm asking.
then
Okay.
but there has to be some sign you're
Right.
doing something
Right.
that
So
says I'm investing in me.
so if there's a young person out there listening, here, can I ask you another question?
Sure.
When you said career path, so
Sister
what
Shirley,
what
Sister Tanya, what y'all think? Y'all don't
Tell-
just leave me out here.
help? Maybe I should say it. Maybe I should answer my own question. No, I talked earlier, so I'm actually help the young people understand what's the difference between a career and a job, or is there a difference? Because I think in this day and time, some of the things that we would consider jobs are actually careers now because of all the benefits that comes with them. Because a lot of times when we look at, all right, I'm great answering my own question. Let me shut up. Go ahead.
No, I think it just depends.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like what is that person's goal with that job,
Right.
So if you're, if well, you can't do that anymore because they don't exist anymore. But okay, so you're a sanitation worker,
Mm-hmm.
right? If your goal is to be the person picking up the trash can
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of your life,
Mm-hmm.
then that's a job. But if you're saying, I'm going to pick up these trash cans, but my goal,
Mm-hmm.
my next goal
Mm-hmm.
is to drive the truck,
Mm-hmm.
and then my next goal is to be over the fleet,
Mm-hmm.
and then my next goal is to, be an HR. I don't know. If your goal is to matriculate through that realm, then fine. Right. Then that's a career.
Okay, so what if he's okay with, picking up the trash cans for the rest of his life, but he has a 401k, has a retirement plan, has all of that?
To each their own.
So do you think he's married material?
To somebody he is.
I'm just asking.
I'm just answering. Okay. To somebody he is.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's. I would want someone who wanted more.
Right.
Yeah, and I would tell my younger self to wait until I saw signs.
Right. I think I hear a lot of women saying, "I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to settle." Like, what is that? Like, help me understand what that means from a woman perspective. I'm not going to settle. I mean, I have an idea based upon definition and based upon practicality of that thought behind that, but that seems to be a big word these days. Well, what is that? We gotta get right.
We gotta go. Yeah, because that baby wake up.
Yeah. What is that?
Tanya said, "I agree. By age 30, you should be more established."
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
So am I in between stage?
Mm-hmm.
In between,
mm-hmm.
Right? Sister Shirley says she agrees. In my in between stage, my self-esteem was so low that I thought I needed to settle in order to experience love again.
Mm.
And so when women say I'm not going to settle, what they're saying is that I have an expectation to be with a certain type of man. And I'm not going to allow myself to, and I think I think you have to take it a couple of different ways, right? I'm not going to allow myself to date beneath that. Is one way, right? That you take it, and if they're not already at a certain place, I'm not dealing with them,
right?
But I think the other way to take it is, I think it's more about an attitude that if his hustle ain't on the level of my hustle,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is,
Mm-hmm.
then I can't.
He don't qualify.
He doesn't qualify.
Right.
Right. Because if my hustle is on 10 and your hustle's on 3, then I'm going to be doing all the hustling.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I'm going to be carrying the house.
Okay.
But if my hustle's on 10 and your hustle's on 10,
how are you going to have a relationship?
Then I can chill out and let you hustle.
So there you have it at the beginning of our conversation. What do a man benefits from marriage? You just got the answer right there.
No,
There's
I'm
nothing
just-
else to say.
I'm
You got the
joking.
answer right there. You got the
I
answer
was
right there. She
joking.
said, now she could chill. So what do men benefit from it?
I'm joking.
Death.
I was joking. No, doctor.
Sorry. There you have it.
I was joking.
No, she wasn't.
Yes,
She was
I
dead serious. Y'all know she was flowing. You was flowing. You was dead serious.
When you said, when do you have a relationship, that's when I stopped. It was like, I guess I got to pull back. No.
I think that should be a conversation that needs to be had about balance.
Finding balance, yeah.
You know, and relationships in qualifying for a certain type of mate, right?
And what's that man's name?
Who?
That man that passed away talking about you don't
Kevin
qualify.
Samuels.
Kevin Samuels, you going down that street.
Look, I mean, I think it's worth having a conversation about because you just said it. I mean, you just said it. Like if I'm hustling on 10 and he hustling on 3, he doesn't qualify. Like I don't want to be with someone like that. So that's calling for a certain type of man with a certain type of attitude and a certain type of behavior or character, if you will.
Absolutely.
So that means he has to qualify to be with you, and that means that type of man is going to look for a certain quality in a woman. So that means she would have to qualify.
What type of? Well, no.
I mean, we have to hold out for it. But I'm just saying, like that ought to be a conversation because, you know, I know people probably don't want to talk about it, but you do have to qualify to be with a certain type of person. That's obvious. Whether it is aesthetically.
And it can't. Oh Lord Jesus!
It can be.
Well,
it can be.
Of the Most High.
I'm just saying.
I guess that's our cliffhanger for the night. Because if my child wakes up,
Sister Jill said, "No,
I am not going to be a happy camper." But
till next Monday.
Y'all keep us in prayer. We really, really do appreciate you guys. We are. Wait a minute. Sister Tanya done chimed in. Wait a minute. We're going to get this one comment in. Let's see. I think we should have a standard, but at the same time, as a believer, be open to who God has for you. He or she may not fit your standard. All right, hold on to that. We'll be coming around the mountain when we come. But yeah, we'll. I don't. It's so sticky. Okay.
It needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not denying the fact that it needs to be talked about, but I don't know that I feel like talking about it, but I guess we will.
Yeah, we ain't gotta talk about it.
We'll talk about it. You done brought it up now, and if I don't talk about it, then
I'm just
telling you be like, well, ask the question, sis.
I'm just flowing with the conversation. You know how I do.
No,
but I think it's worth. I think it's worth talking about because I believe that there is some reality that people's trying. There's some reality to that conversation that people trying to their best to ignore or to downplay it. And the reality is, she said the word standards. And that's fine. You use the word standard, but kind of qualify. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Like I know people probably may not like that.
How did I qualify to be with you? Okay, hold on. We'll come back.
Okay.
We'll cross that bridge. We'll come back.
And hold up.
Bang,
because this is the thing.
It's 10:14.
Okay, because we always say we want our partner to make us better and to help us become better. So a lot of times when you're choosing a partner, you're choosing a partner that's better than you
Okay.
on either side.
All right. Well, y'all,
I'm just saying.
you done started something.
I'm just saying.
It's 10.
Ask someone that's married, and they'll tell you if they have to be honest. And it's not, and that better comes in a lot of different ways and a lot of different varieties. So I'm just saying, you ask a man how your wife made you better. You ask a wife, how did your husband make you better? I'm just saying. So that means they had something that you didn't have that attracted you to them to say, this person has this. I want this, or I want to be close to this to produce this in my life.
James, you're having the conversation.
Okay.
All right. It's 10:15.
All right. Let's close it out.
Like I was saying,
the altar is open.
Sister Shirley said part 2 next week.
The altar is open.
The
elders are at the
altar.
At the altar, if you need prayer for your relationship. If you don't have a relationship, you're seeking a relationship, God's going to do it.
Stop.
I'm just saying.
I cannot. All right, guys.
You didn't do it, but God did. Let me stop. Okay. All right. We're going to get out of here. We're going to figure out what we're going to talk about next week.
Apparently, we're talking about this. Okay. You done got the pot stirred.
All right.
Sister Shirley and Tanya, both of them like, yes, part 2.
Get your married folk and unmarried folk in this conversation. This is going to be a good conversation.
This is going to be interesting.
Let's get it popping.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.
Let's go.
Right, exactly. Please don't wake the baby. Exactly, Sister Shirley.
I don't want to wake the baby.
Don't nobody want to wake the baby because Lord Jesus. Anyway, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight and for participating. We really do enjoy hanging out with you all. We'll be on just about every Monday at 9 o'clock, as long as Jacob allows. There are some good things coming up in January. We hope that you will participate in all of those great, wonderful things. Now, I know it's that part that annoys all of us, no matter what platform you're on, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Please like and share. Please, we really do appreciate it, and we appreciate you. So please like and share. This is Chasing More. We're going to get all of that, the logo and all of that up and running, and eventually the older episodes will be available via podcasts, which is why we're using these good microphones. Anyway, love you guys. Talk to you next. Well, most of you will see before then, but until then, we'll talk to you next Monday at 9 p.m. We'll be chasing more.
Let's
Love you guys.
go.
Good night.